And welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Thursday, August 31st, 2017. Trading stocks is a high level of risk, and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice, not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here. Hope you've had a good week so far. I'm filming this a little earlier than I normally do. It's about 6:30 a.m. where I am, and the futures look to be starting off so far this morning in the green. So with that, let's get into today's video. I always start with a look at the Russell Index because I always want to make sure that the overall market is moving higher before I add a new name to my watch list. And for that, we use the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000. And I like to step back and take a look at it on a 5-year monthly time frame. So we've been keeping an eye on this little wedge pattern up here that has been forming on the Russell. The blue line is long-term support, the orange line is kind of medium, and the purple is short-term support. So you can see the wedge that's been occurring since the beginning of the year, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August so far. A nice wick shaping up. It's the last trading day of the month, so maybe we'll get a candle for the month that has a little bit of thrust to it. We will see. But worth noting, the candle for the month of July was a doji right here at our area of resistance. I'm going to move it away from the monthly to the 1-year weekly, where we can see this is my short-term area of support resistance. We blew through that several weeks back. We are now approaching that area. So will price be able to reclaim our purple line, short-term area of support, or will it start to roll? We will see. But the orange line's medium, purple line, short-term support. Then I move it away from the weekly to the daily. You can better see how price is behaving. So the blue line is the 8-day EMA, which I use as my guide. When price is up and over the 8-day EMA, I'm good. I'm adding names to my watch list, like here. When it falls below, I'm sitting tight. I'm not adding any new names. So as you can see, the Russell is approaching that purple line of short-term now resistance. So we'll see how it behaves when it gets there. But price on the Russell is up and over that 8 days, so we will add a new name to our watch list this morning. And that new name we're going to add to our watch list this morning is iRobot Corporation, ticker symbol IRBT, trades on the NASDAQ exchange. Before I get into the chart, let me tell you a little bit more about the company and my philosophy here at Chart of the Day Cafe. I am all about identifying for my viewers the companies that are changing our world and how we do things, the compelling trends, and iRobot, oh my gosh, certainly fits into that category. So it's all about robots, and we all have heard how robots are going to change our world and landscape. And iRobot sits right in the middle of that trend. They have robots for consumer good use, government use, industrial good use, you name it. If it's a robot, iRobot is probably involved. They were incorporated in 1990. And you know, the second thing I look for is value and growth scores. I want to see a chart, even though it's going higher, it's still undervalued and has a nice growth component. And iRobot fits the bill there with a nice healthy value score and a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 24%. Current PE of 38.65, which is a little higher than I normally like to see, but the chart is so compelling, I want to have it on my watch list. And it does not pay a dividend. So with that, let's get into the chart. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart of iRobot. Holy freight train, look at this thing. Wow, just took off. The thing that captures my attention is the volume from last month. Here, this is the nice healthy candle for the month of July with rising volume, and where we are right here, right now. So I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly, but I just want you to note the beautiful uptrend that iRobot's been in. Now I'm going to move it to the 1-year weekly, and we can see this area of support, right? So the beautiful volume candle that pushed us off of this area, my orange line of support, and we've come right back in to retest that area. So it's a neat area to be watching iRobot and perhaps think about getting involved. I'm going to move it away from the 1-year weekly to the 9-month daily. You know, at Chart of the Day Cafe, if you've been watching these videos, you know for me, It's all about price moving up and over this blue line, which is the 8-day EMA. I like to see price up and over the 8-day. When it falls below, no longer interested. It looks as though iRobot, let me zoom it in a little bit to the 3-month, is going to get that trigger. Should we get a healthy day today in price on the markets overall, I wouldn't be too surprised to see iRobot trigger in this area, and that's why I'm flagging it for you here today. Pardon me, sort of have a frog in my throat this morning. So iRobot. Along with our new watch list pick, we like to take a look at the ETFs for the sectors that it's involved in, and for that we're looking at XHB, which is the Home Builders ETF, 5-year monthly chart. You can see that it's a little bit flat, but for the most part trending higher, up and over a prior area of resistance, and this chart looks pretty good to me, up and over the 8-day EMA. The next one I wanted to show you is XLK, which is the technology sector, 5-year monthly chart, beautiful trend higher, volume pretty good, and look at this where we are right here right now. So I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 9-month daily. A little bit of a breakout there. It consolidated and went sideways for a while, but this looks like it might be breaking out here. So the XLK technology ETF looks pretty good as well. I also like to check seasonality, and for that we go over to equityclock.com, an amazing site, really like it. You can see that seasonality for iRobot kicks in right about now, and it has a strong back half of the year. No guarantee that happens again this year, but always nice to know. I also like to check FinViz to see if I've got analyst support for my watch list pick, and it's a bit choppy, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, but for the most part, the chart I find the most compelling thing. So I will let you decide whether you see analyst support here or not. And finally, I like to dig in and read a couple of articles about my new watch list pick. And this one from the Motley Fool, dated August 2nd, talks about 3 companies building the world of tomorrow, iRobot being one of them. And so to summarize, let's go back and check the boxes for iRobot. We started today's video with a look at the Russell Index, and we note that it's trading in that great big wedge on the 5-year monthly chart, possibly coming into an area of resistance, the purple line. But having said that, price is currently up and over the 8-day EMA and showing price strength. We looked at the sectors that iRobot is involved in, the home builders and technology sector. We note that they're uptrending on the 5-year chart. iRobot is in a beautiful uptrend on the 5-year chart and at an area of possible, emphasis on possible, support and further lift. It's got a good value score. It's got a good growth score. These are highlighted because they're absolute musts for me. It's got a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 24%. Does not pay dividend yield, so that box is not checked. I look for a trigger, a 3 and 8 EMA daily cross as my trigger. It does not have that yet, so it's not checked. But it does have seasonality in its favor, and I'm going to leave it up to you to decide whether you want to have analyst support checked off, just because when we looked at FinViz, it was a bit choppy there. Current PE of 38.65, and it looks as though earnings are going to be on October 24th. As a reminder, these videos go out every Tuesday and Thursday morning prior to 9:30 a.m. If you like receiving them, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. It is my goal to build a strong and supportive community here at Chart of the Day Cafe. Also, LPX, if you didn't watch that video on Tuesday, done very well. These are 3 I would be keeping an eye on today as well. eBay in particular looks really good. With that, I'll leave you. Our next video goes out next Tuesday. Have a great weekend.